Carolina David. Let's talk with Carolina David. Let's talk with Carolina David. Let's talk with Carolina David.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? First off, let me say grace, peace, and mercy be unto you all from Jehovah our Father, Jesus Christ our Lord, and the Holy Spirit. Okay, so we're going to come back to um, now doing chapter 12 of Exodus, and you already know it's going to be on the playlist from beginning to end series. I'm going to try to do it like at least every week, try to keep it going. So before we get into the video, please make sure y'all like this video, share this video, subscribe to the page if you haven't subscribed yet, and make sure you hit that bell notification, get updated to the videos that I do henceforth. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into Exodus chapter 12. And we're going to start off at verse 1 where it says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year unto you." So, starting out, we see that the Lord is telling Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt that this month is going to be the first month of the year to them. So, it's the first month, first day of the year unto them. So, we're going to continue where it says, "In the 10th days of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Speak unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb." Okay, so right there we see that the Lord is telling Moses and Aaron to speak into the congregation, which is the people of Israel, and tell them that in 10 days they need to take a lamb and basically prepare the lamb for sacrifice. It should be for a sacrifice because that way he told them in verse 11 is about to happen. So this is going to be like the Passover. He's telling them to get a lamb for a feast, to for a Passover, and also that if the household be too small for one lamb, then you should share it with your neighbor next to your house, so that the lamb it wouldn't go to waste. All right. So then we're gonna continue on where it says, "Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or the goats." So we can see it's a sheep or a goat. And then verse 6 says, "And you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening." So right now, they in the 10th day, they need to go and get the lamb or the goat and prepare it. Well, not prepare it, they were like, basically keep it in the house and stuff like that until the 14th day of the month. And in the 14th day of the month, that's when everybody shall lay hold and slay their lamb or goat on that day. And then verse 7 says, "And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the upper doorposts of the houses where they shall eat it." Right there, the Lord is letting them know that after they slay the lamb or the goat, and basically de-blood it and everything like that, they should take the blood of the lamb or the goat, and they shall mark their house on the two doorposts and on the upper post of the door. So it basically marking their house. And then after they do that, they shall take of it and they shall eat it. And then the next verse says, "And they shall eat their flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire his head with his legs, and with pertinence thereof." So right there, the Lord is letting them know that how they should prepare the lamb or the goat, and then it says that they should roast it with a fire, right? Now, when it says roasted with fire and it says not to sodden it like with water, basically, you know how some people today, especially when they grilling and stuff like that, they have their meat on the grill and then they spritz it down, or they basically use water to wet it and stuff like that to make it. I guess they do it to make it more tender or something like that. Or I don't know, but he's telling them to not do it, not siding it, not get it wet, but to just roast it with fire, and that the head and the feet should basically be together and roast it like that. And then he said also that you should eat it with unleavened bread. And also that you can't eat the it says what pertinence thereof. And what pertinence mean is that you got to basically clean it out. Like not eating the liver, not eating the heart, and all of that. You got to basically clean it, gut it out, clean it out. So he's letting us know how to eat of the lamb. And also, you got to get rid of the fur from it as well. But then we're going to continue on where it says in verse 10. It says, "And you shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remains of it until the morning, you shall burn it with fire. And this you shall eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover." Okay, so right there is letting us know that after you prepare it and you eat it, that you should eat it and leave nothing behind. Like don't leave no leftovers. But then he said if it do be leftovers, that in the morning you need to burn it. Like burn the leftovers. Like don't eat it, just burn it. Why? Because um that was the Passover meal. Like the next day is is the next day. This is the Passover for that day. And then he also letting them know how they should eat of the lamb, like how to eat the meal. He said, with your loins girded, with your shoes on your feet, and with your staff in your hand. And he said you should eat it in a haste. Basically, you need to eat it in a hurry, like hurry up and eat it. So he's like the Lord is giving them directions on everything, on what to do, how to eat it, and everything for this day. And then verse 12 says, "For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord." So now we see why the Lord say do this, and to mark the doorpost, because he's coming through, and when he come through, he coming through. It's gonna be a reckoning. And then verse 13 says, "And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you, when I smite the land of Egypt." So right there is he's letting the children of Israel know, like I said, why he told them to mark the doorposts and then to mark the sides of the doors and the upper part. It's to let him know to pass over them, like that they to not touch them, that they forgiven, that they're okay, because he's going to execute judgment on the land of Egypt and their so-called gods. He's going to basically judge everybody. So, like the Lord is going to come through and he going to wreck shop. So, verse 14 says, "And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast of the Lord throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever." So right there, like this, we supposed to be doing this feast all the time. So we know now, we know, because like a lot of people, we talk about the day of the Passover, and everything like that. And now we know what day is the Passover, what day we should be eating of the feast. It's the first day of the month. Well, not the first day, it's the first month, and then it's the 14th day. So January 14th, that's when we need to be doing this Passover. But now, I'm if I'm not mistaken, yeah, yeah, we still should be doing the Passover because even when Jesus came, and when he was here, the Passover was still going. Like it's we need to be doing this Passover all the time. So um I've been in error because I haven't been doing the Passover feast, to be honest. Like because I didn't know we were supposed to keep to it. But um I'm a matter of fact, I'm gonna research it and I'm gonna do the video on that as well to let us know if we need to be doing the Passover feast. But if I'm not mistaken, Jesus was even here when he was here walking on this earth. The Passover feast was still going, and I'm only assuming that the Passover feast was still going even with the apostles. But anyway, I'm gonna do a video on it. And we're gonna see. So let's continue on with verse 15, where it says, "7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut from Israel." Mm. So right there is letting us know that we need to be eating this leavened bread, uh, unleavened bread for 7 days. Like so, from the first day and 7 days after that, we need to be eating leavened bread. And it says that if anybody eat any bread other than leaven, that you're gonna be cut out of Israel, cut from Israel, like and cut from Israel don't necessarily mean that he's gonna take you out. It just means that um you're not gonna be a part of Israel. Like he gonna basically exile you in a sense. Okay, verse 16 says, "And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation, and in the seventh day there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that every man must eat. That only may be done of you." So right there is letting us know that it's going to be a gathering together of people for these 7 days. From the first day to the seventh day is going to be a holy convocation, and a holy convocation basically means a holy gathering. And he's letting us know, the Lord is letting us know that within these 7 days, we ain't supposed to do no work. No work should be done at all, and that um the only work that you should do is to basically cook your food because you got to eat. So that's the only work that that we should be doing. So then verse 17 says, "And you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this self same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall you observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at even, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 1 and 21 day of the month at even." So, right there, the Lord is letting us know how long, basically letting us know that if January 14th at evening, that's when, basically evening is about right, like around, I believe it's like around 5 o'clock or something like that. So from evening of the 14th to evening on the 21st, that's when we need to be eating unleavened bread. That's when he was telling them to eat unleavened bread, and it's going to be a week long feast, a festival, a week long gathering, a week long thing. And this is basically a law. That's why it says or ordinance forever. It's a law. It's a rule forever. And then he continued on at verse 19 and said, "7 days shall there be no leaven found in your house. For whosoever eats that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land." Mm. So it's letting you know that if you eat in 11 bread from those within those days, you're gonna be cut off from the congregation of Israel. Basically, you're not gonna be in that party, in that gathering. You're gonna be outside of it because you got 11 bread in your house. And then it says, "You shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations shall you eat unleavened bread." So we ain't gonna eat nothing leavened. And it says in all your habitation. That means in everybody, in all the people there, it shall eat unleavened bread. And then it says, "Then Moses called all the elders of Israel and said unto them, Draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill it, and kill the Passover." So, like now that the Lord has told Moses what to do, Moses is now about to pass this order on to the elders of Israel, and they're going to pass it on to the people. Like, do y'all see? I want to just let this be known right quick. Do y'all see the structure that God have? Like Moses, God is the head. He like the chief of operations. Then he got Moses, which is like the vice president of operations, and then you got the elders of Israel, which is basically like the managers in a sense of the operation, and then you got us, the people, the workers. Like that God is it's about order with him. And then also I want y'all to see, do y'all see the comparison? Do y'all see how the Passover and Jesus is basically one and the same? It's just the Passover for the in the Old Testament is basically the Old Testament, um the old, not commandment, but my mind just drew a blank. It's just the Old Testament is the Old Testament covenant, the promise and everything. That's what the Old Testament. But then in the New Testament, which is Jesus, that's the new covenant. That's a new order. So now thinking about it, matter of fact, now that I think about it, we don't have to keep to that this right here of the Passover, because Jesus, the covenant that Jesus had gave us was that we must um have communion. We must have communion, um gathering together and eating of the bread and drinking of the wine. That's what we must do in remembrance of Jesus Christ until he come back. Now that I think about it. So let's go ahead and jump back into the scriptures. Verse 22. And it says, "And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at that door of his house until the morning." So now Moses basically has given the order to the elders of the city and telling them that um they're going to drain, but basically the blood is going to be drained into a basin. And he told them that they should take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood and strike the lentils with this. The lentil is um the door head, the door covering, the post of the head of the door. And then he said the two side posts. And he said nobody shall leave out the house, out that door, until the morning. So once you do all that and you strike it down and everything, you can't leave. And then verse 23 says, "For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he sees the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, the Lord will pass over the door, and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you. And you shall observe this thing for an ordinance to you and to your sons forever." So, I mean, it's pretty clear cut. He's letting them know that the Lord is going to basically send a destroyer to come and do his bidding, which is to take the firstborn of everybody. And he's saying that he let them know that, once the destroyer see the blood on the lintel and the two side posts, which is the door overhead post and the side post, he said the Lord will not suffer, will basically mean will not allow the destroyer to come in to your house to smite you. And he like, you shall observe this day and this thing for an ordinance forever. Like us, the men and the sons. Then verse 25 says, and it shall come to pass when you become to the land which the Lord will give you, according as he has promised, that you shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, what mean you by this service? That you shall say, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed the head and worship. So he's basically letting us know how to like to tell this story forever, like because this should be told forever. And then it says in 28, and the children of Israel went away and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. Like what the Lord said he was going to do, he doing. He allowing the destroyer is coming, and he's doing his job. And then it says, and Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. Ooh, like all Pharaoh had to do was just listen. Listen and let the people go. But he wanted to try to be God himself. But as you can see as well, that the destroyer, that the Lord didn't allow no one to pass. Like no one could escape that, because even the people that was in the dungeon, that was basically in prison, even them, they was basically caught up in the mess. Because and let's be honest, God is a gracious father. He's a gracious man, to where even the ones that are innocent and and was locked up in prison and was caught up in the mess, if they were righteous men, they would have been they're cleared. They would have been, even though they got caught up in it, their souls would have been cleared. They basically would have went to Abraham's bosom. But no one, no one could escape that, because Pharaoh was just doing what Pharaoh wanted to do. And then verse 31 says, and he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, rise up and get you forth from among my people, both you and your children of Israel, and go serve the Lord as you have said. Now you want to do it. Like, and see that, and that comes down to a lot of people even today. A lot of y'all know who God the Father is. A lot of y'all know who Jesus Christ, the Son of the Father, is. But yet y'all want to continue to be set in your ways and not acknowledge him and the Son. Y'all want to continue to be doing what y'all doing. Y'all better be lucky and glad that we are in a time now where grace and mercy is abound, even unto the unjust. Because just like in scripture says, he reigned on the just as well as the unjust. Y'all better be lucky that we still in that we in this time. Because if we wasn't, y'all be just like them. Then verse 32 says, and take your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also. Ooh, you now. Oh, wow. You see, Pharaoh. Pharaoh said, "this this selfish son of a gun." He said, "And take your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and be gone." And he said, "And bless me also." So even though you want to be this high and mighty ruler, this I'm God, you're not gonna leave. You're gonna stay here and do as I say type person. You want to be this person. You even made the children of Israel serve and basically uh build your pyramids and everything with rigor. The scripture says that means you made it hard for them. You made it hard for them to basically make the pyramids and to make your statues and stuff like that. You you basically abuse the people to where now that you this happened to your children, to your people in Egypt. Now you want to say, y'all can go ahead and go. Go ahead and go get up out of here. But bless me, please. Give me a blessing. Bless me. So now you want the Lord, the Most High, to bless you after you done did this to his people? You selfish son of a gun, you. And you got people like this in this world today. That's just like that. Selfish as don't know what. Want you, they do so much dirt to you, they do so much harm to you, and and try to make you suffer. But just as soon as they get back what they done to you, get it back to them, then they want to, man, please forgive me, man. Say, bless me, please, help me. Like, boy, that daggone Pharaoh. But then he continued and said in verse 33, and the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste. And they said, we be all dead men. Uh, yeah. So you look, there go the people of Egypt was like, look, let's hurry up and get them out of here. They saw to it. They got out of there, and it was urgent that they got out of there in a haste. Like, they won't shoving them and everything, but it was escorting them. Like, come on, you can go ahead and go. You can get out of here. It's all right. And they said that the reason why they doing that, it says we be all dead. We be all dead because they know you messing with the wrong one. When y'all see who the real God is now. They said we be all dead men. And then verse 34 says, and the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading trowels being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses. And they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians. See, when you do and follow the ordinance and follow what the Lord tell you to do, you get favored. Because the children of Israel, even though they was in slavery and they was basically Pharaoh was making it hard for them when they made them serve with rigor and was doing all the things they were doing. But by them being earnest and by them being believers in God and following God and staying the course and believing God, the children of Israel was blessed by the very people that made them suffer. The children of Israel was blessed with jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. So even had they was wealthy because the raiment which was clothing and everything, it was price it was costly. So the Lord had made them to show them favor by giving them this. And it said they lent so that they lent unto them such things. So lent, I mean that they gave it to them. They wasn't borrowing it. And to be honest, it was given to them. So all look, just keep serving the Lord, man, because you know you got favor in the eyes of the Lord. And then verse 37 says, and the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men, beside children. So it's letting them know how many men. It was 600,000 men And it said beside children. I mean outside of children. It was 600,000 men on foot. And then verse 38 says, and a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle. So when it said mixed multitude, now it's talking about women and children. Like women, children, daughters had went up with them all as well. It was 600,000 men plus um the mixed multitude. So you got 600,000 men, and with the 600,000 men, let's say there's 600,000 women. You know what I'm saying? So it could be well over like 1 million people, like close to 2 million people right here on this journey out of here. And then also with the cattle too. So it could be a whole lot of livestock and everything that's leaving out of here. And verse 39 says, and they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt and could not tarry, neither had they prepared for themselves any victual. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt were 430 years. That's a long time. 430 years. So right there is letting us know that they left from Ramses to Succoth. It was 600,000 men. Like I said, it probably was like all together with the men, women, and children and the livestock. It was probably like it was probably over 2 million. It was probably over 2 million people and livestock and everything that had left from Egypt. And it says that they had baked the unleavened cakes, and because the dough they couldn't finish, you know, leavening it and everything, because they had left in such a hurry they couldn't stay. And they said that they didn't even prepare them victuals, basically meaning they didn't prepare no meat or no food. And it said that they stayed, that the amount of years that they stayed a sojourning. Well, that's what it's talking about. The sojourning of the children of Israel, that dwelt in Egypt, was 430 years. Man, that's a long time. And then if you look at even now, like they said that we was in slavery for 400 years as well. Like that's a long time. Like, but I mean, all you gotta do is just do what the Lord say. And like, cause even when we was enslaved, it's because we did not want to adhere to the Most High. We did not want to follow the Most High's ordinances and everything. So that's why we was put in slavery. But then we continue on. It says, and it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day, it came to pass that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. It is a night to be much observed unto the Lord for bringing them out of the land of Egypt. This is that night of the Lord to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. So right there is letting it be known that when it says even it came to pass, basically is letting us know that 430 years they was there in Egypt, but this one day the Lord, and basically when it says all the host of the Lord, it's talking about all of the people of Israel had was freed from slavery on this day, this self same day. And it says that it should be remembered basically forever. Like this is something that need to be um like that's why it says observed. Like this is something that need to be remembered forever. And like all the children of Israel as well, like for generations to come. Like that's why it's like we don't have to do it no more now, because it's a new covenant that we are under, which is the covenant of Jesus Christ, that by him and his sacrifice. But so we need to be doing the new covenant, which is, the past, not Passover, but the communion, what I'm saying, eating of the bread and drinking of the wine until the day that Jesus come back. We doing that in the remembrance of his death. Then verse 33 says, and the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof, but every man's servant that is bought for money, when you have circumcised him, then he shall eat thereof. Oh, okay. So right here is letting us know that this is the Passover. This is the ordinance of the Passover. It says that there shall no stranger eat thereof. So basically, like when it said you bought for money, because like this is it's not slavery. Like this is basically um when people need jobs. They need jobs, and back in those days, they need jobs and they need a house and they need like basically to be um uh provided for. So that's why when he was like, if but every man's servant that is bought for money, um, that's what it's talking about that. And then he said that they couldn't eat of it until they themselves were circumcised. And then after they were circumcised, then they could eat of it. So basically, right there, what it's letting us know is that even though you got true Hebrews and true Israelites right here, like, but the ones that come into the fold of Israel by being a servant, of Israel, because work like a butler or anything of that nature, like a maid servant and everything like that. That after the men are circumcised, then and only then they can eat of the unleavened bread and basically eat of the Passover. Then verse 45 says, "A foreigner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof. In one house shall it be eaten. You shall not carry forth out of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall you break a bone thereof." So right there, the Lord is basically hey, letting us know, like, hey, you know, a foreigner and a hired servant, basically meaning like a foreigner that you might have hired for to do a certain thing for a certain time, like they can't take part in none of this. And then it says also that um it should be eaten in one house. Like basically you need to keep to it and eat it in your house. And then it said you should not be carry it forth like abroad, like outside of your house and carry it forth, like to where other people can eat of it or whatever like that. And it said neither shall you break a bone thereof. So you like basically keeping it strict. Like don't share it with nobody else because this is for you. Then verse 47 says, "All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. And when a stranger shall sojourn with you and will keep the Passover of the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof." So right there, like, I mean, he is plain and simple, man. Like nobody that is uncircumcised. If a stranger come in and be like, "Hey, I'll be willing to do this. I'll be willing to be circumcised and everything," then he can eat of it. Like you can come there and you can keep to what the Lord say do. Now you are Israelite. And then verse 49 says, "One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourns among you. This did all the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the self same day that the Lord did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies." So that's the end of Exodus chapter 12. And as you can see in Exodus chapter 12, that that this law, this Passover, this feast is for the children of Israel and the children of Israel only. However, if you have servants, hired servants, or and they be willing to um follow like and keep the feast and keep the commandment as well, they be circumcised, then they can be partakers of the feast. Then they can do everything that the children of Israel do. But anybody that's not um your hired servant and they're strangers and they're foreigners, like they can't be a part of it. You got to eat it in your house. You got to dag on it. Um, do it right there. You can't take it out and take it abroad and share it with others. You got to do it in your house. And and if anybody that was willing to come in and that sojourns with you, basically mean they tarry and they stay with you and be a part of you and be a part of your culture, they could they could have it. They could be a part of it. But nobody, no strangers can be in it. Like, and we should be doing that right now today, to be honest. Like, because you got a lot of people, man, that will sit here and say, "Oh, well, I believe in Jesus Christ. Yes, I'm a Christian," but then they don't do the things of a Christian. They don't follow the scripture. They don't follow the Bible. They go by what a pastor say. We need to start being more strict on these churches and pastors and basically give them reproach and correct them, because it's a lot of stuff, man, that they're doing that's not right, to be honest. But anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna say grace, peace, and mercy be unto you all, man. I love y'all. Peace.
You tuned in with the Carolina David, where he speak the truth and the scripture he ain't gonna play with. So take the time, hit the like and subscribe, ring the bell notification to get notified to every video that he drop, and follow along in the scripture so you won't get led wrong. So without further ado, Carolina David, yeah.